sister older and a brother younger.
So the three of you.
Just the three of us.
Was anyone in your family in the military?
It's not picking up. Just let's start all back over.
Okay.
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 That's good.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Was anyone in your family in the military?
Well, my brother was in the Navy, and I was in the Army. I was infantry medic in the Army.
So tell me the story, how you came to be in the Army.
How come you to be what?
How you came to join the Army.
Okay. Pearl Harbor. I was in Pennsylvania. I took Robert Taylor to New York to visit his folks. He'd put in 11 months, and he had a month to go before he'd put in his time. And he had an old car in bad shape, and I had a pretty good car. I had a Dodge. And so he asked me if I'd take him, and I did. On the way back in Pennsylvania, my radio had a news flash. Pearl Harbor has been bombed. The fellow says, excuse me, but I think that is a mistake. Let me check. Yes, it has been verified. So I will bring you the news flashes as they come in. It wasn't long as all news flashes till President Roosevelt came on. He says all classes, furloughs, and leaves has been canceled. Pearl Harbor has been bombed, and everyone is to report to duty at once. He said, I now, the President of the United States has declared war on Japan. Everyone report to duty at once. So Robert said, that goes my leave now, the duration of the war. I said, I'll probably join you before long, and I did. So on April 1, I went in.
And you joined?
Yes. Now, I was working in Newport News in the shipyard at defense work. My boss offered me a deferment, but I didn't want to be known as a 4F or draft dodger.
Hold on just a minute.
He did not join at that time.
Okay, so you were drafted.
Yes, and the reason is this. Then we could not enlist. To enlist, you had no rights. You went in without no reserves. By being drafted, I would then could choose my classification, and that's why we had to wait. And when my time came, I went to the draft board. I told them we were known as non-combatants. There's no such classification in the Army. Either you are or you are not. So if you go in the Army without the old classification, you'll most likely be court-martialed for refusing to work on Saturday or bear arms. So as a result, that's the reason I took that classification, because it meant, he said it meant you object to serving your country. It means you're going in with reservations. That made sense, so that's the reason I took that classification.
But you didn't object to serving your country.
Oh, no. I considered it an honor. Now, we were getting $21 a month, or we made a joke of $21 a day once a month. But we all were doing, that's all anyone. And when we first went in, no provisions were made for wives or families. That's all it was. But then shortly, the government made $50 for the wife, and we got a raise from $21 to $22, $72 a month. That's why it take care of everything. So you can see nobody got rich in the Army.
So tell me, you took the classification of conscientious objector, but you felt you were a non-combatant.
Right.
Tell me why.
Okay, do you have a book handy?
You know what?
Okay.
We'll do that later. You tell me now,
Okay.
and we'll show the book later.
What happened is this. My dad bought this 10 Commandments in Lois Pratt Illustrated on a nice frame. And I had looked at that picture of 6 Commandments. Thou shalt not kill. That's the picture had Cain had killed his brother Abel. Now, what how in the world could a brother do such a thing? And I always had a heart against killing. Now, to me, I don't condemn anyone to bear arms. It's a matter between every person and his God. But to me, it wasn't right. To me, I put it this way, Desmond, if you love me, you won't kill. I've pictured Christ out saving life. I want to be like Christ out saving life instead of taking life. And that's the reason I take up medical, started medical training. I took up Red Cross. I did these things in advance, expecting to get into the medical corps. And so that's what I was wanting to get in the medical corps. But what I ended up, infantry. I tried to tell them I was supposed to be in the medical. You don't tell us nothing. We tell you where you belong. So after so long a time, I did get into the medical corps. And that's what I want to be.
Now, when they assigned you to the infantry, did they send you for training?
I was in it. Let's see, what we usually did, most medics got to go to Fort Sam for training as medics. I didn't. My men was guinea pigs. I had to train on them. While the others were training with weapons, we were having classes, and then we went out in the fields and all. We put into practice the things we'd been taught. And so as far as actually going to a medical school, I never did go.
And tell me about working on Saturday.
Well, that's another thing. You think when I got into medical corps, my major was a Jew. You know, they believe in keeping Saturday too. And he told me, said, listen, Doss, we're in the Army now. I believe in keeping Saturday, but I have to work on the Sabbath. You got to do the same. We're in the Army now. I told him, sorry, but I can't. I insist on getting to go to church. And he said, okay, I'm going to give you a pass this week, but don't you come back here again. When I kept coming back like that, he got rather angry underneath the collar. He says, Doss, I am not signing any more pass for you or let anyone else sign a pass. Is that clear? He said, what time is church over today? I told him, you report back here to the regimental aid station. I'm not signing no more passes. So is that clear? All I could say, yes, sir. So I made a request that Sabbath that the people that remember me in prayer that I might continue to get to go to church, as I've been used to doing all my life. And so when I reported back that the major wasn't in, and my other friend, Sergeant, he too was a Jew. He liked me, a good friend. He says, Doss, you go up to the base chapel. If the major comes in, I know how to get in touch with you. The major didn't come in. When I went down after sundown, he told me I'd go back to barracks. But what happened while I was there, I told Chaplain Stanley what had happened. And he said, Doss, the major is not going to like me. He's going to make him mad. I don't know but one thing to do, and that is to take this to division and see if they can help you. He worked on it that week. And then on Friday, he told me that there was a division order. I was to get my Sabbath off. Now, there's only one person could sign that pass. That was the commander. And so when I went there, the sergeant said, I can't give you a pass, the major's not in. I said, Sergeant, it's a division order. You make the pass. I'll see the major. I said, where is the major? Oh, he's out in the field giving calisthenics. That's something I'd never known him to do before. In times past, we've been having it outside of a regimental aid station. Usually a lieutenant or none come give the calisthenics. So I went in the field and they were resting. I went up, I saluted, handed this piece of paper. He went right around the collar. He signed that pass for the whole regiment of medics that he declared he would not sign or let anyone else sign. I tell you, that is no way to get in good terms with your commander.
So what did your fellow soldiers think of the fact that you had a pass for Saturdays?
Well, don't see, here's the thing, is this. They knew my classification. And they threw the boots at me. They made all types of sarcastic remarks and all. I think they thought that I was trying to get to the Army. I never told them that I didn't have to go in. They wouldn't have believed me anyhow. So I just went ahead and did the best I could. And I think the Lord would work the things out. And he did.
So you finished your medic training.
Yes, we had 17 weeks of basic training. And then I ended up doing something I wasn't supposed to do. Christmas coming around. And my wife and I was engaged to get married. And I tried to get permission. They kept putting me off. Officers and non-coms come first. So someone said to me, well, you go see the adjutant. I went to see the adjutant across from where the regimental aid station was. The adjutant wasn't in. Who comes in but the colonel, regimental colonel? He says, anything I can do for you? I says, anybody can, but I don't have permission to talk to you. I came over to see the adjutant. What can I do for you? I told him what I wanted to do. Planned on getting married. He was sorry, but he could nothing they could do. He said, you on a cadre, aren't you? I says, no. Oh, he picks up the telephone and calls the major. Says, the man wants to get married. Let him get married. Give him a date the way he can get married. I went AWL. And the best punishment I ever had in my life. When I came back, everything was worked out just perfect. My train was supposed to come into Columbia about a half an hour before Reveille. But the train broke down. I didn't get back until noon. And when I saw the sergeant, brother, don't you dare go in that regiment. The major is foaming at the mouth. He's raging. He says, you go to him. I told him what happened. So then I saw the major. He said, you are restricted to the company area for a week. You cannot go to the PX or any place. And I had to go clean up the backs, clean up the aid station every day, and that gave me a chance to write some mail because there wasn't much to do. And so my suit needed to be dry cleaned. So I had someone take that. So I got through. I had a chance to write my wife and get my suit all ready for my wedding. And the funny thing is this, strict GI haircuts. Now, the haircuts were 25 cents back then. And they just scalp you, or maybe a half-inch hair. I went there and I told them I didn't want one like that. I said, cut it as short as you can, but long enough to where I can comb it. I said, we're having a church wedding. He cut his and listen, I cut it where you say, but they send you back, you're going to pay for it again. When I went back to the sergeant and said, oh, Doss, you got to get a haircut. I said, you got it. Shh, don't say nothing. I'm having a church wedding. I got it, cut it as close as I can, but I wanted to where I can at least comb it the way I don't. And so they didn't say anything like it. So I'm the only one that didn't get by with it. Have to have a strict haircut.
You got away with a lot.
That's what, that was too often, but that was one of the, that was the best punishment I ever had in life in the Army.
So, when were you shipped out?
After 2 years here in the state, let's see, I'm not good on dates. April 44. And then we were all over the country, from coast to coast, and getting training of all types. And then we went to Hawaii for advanced jungle training. And that was another situation. No one could be exempt. Every officer, everyone, it was a division order. No one could be exempt, and that was me, and was taking place on Saturday. I went to church instead. When I came back, they didn't say a word to me about it. Only thing about it, brother, you better be thankful you missed that. They had a make-believe war. They were all caked with mud. They had to take the fatigues and blow them up and float across the river. And they told me the mess they were in. After they got back, they had the rest day off to get cleaned up. And that's the one time I missed that, so another good deal I got out. But they let me get by because the division order, I was supposed to get the Sabbath off when possible. And so they didn't want to court-martial off my religion.
No. So you had jungle training, and then they shipped you out again.
Right. From there we went to Guam, and then to Leyte, and then to Okinawa. Now, on Guam, that brother, when we went ashore, the tide was out. The ships couldn't come to shore, and we had to come out, water up underneath our armpits with the fellas holding rifles up over the head. And about a half a mile out, seen some of our Jeeps, fellas standing on the seat of the Jeep that made to run underwater. Now I seen the stuff floating off the back of the Jeep, and the fellas standing on the seat saying anything to shore. And pour down rain. The roads you couldn't see for the soup and mud had bulldozers pushing and pulling these 2.5-ton trucks loaded to that. We had mud up to our knees. And brother, we didn't like that. I was cursing and raising Cain. I found out that didn't do no good, so I just hummed to myself, oh, Christian soldiers, and went on, and the rain felt good. And so now, we didn't like that. You already found out that once in front of you found the shallowest part of the soup and mud. You got that, you end up quite a bit above the knee. And then we got up in the hills. And I've never seen such sticky mud in all my life. Got to where it was sticking onto my boots, and I couldn't hardly take my feet up. I had to scrape the mud off so I could walk. And that night, we were in combat. And the Japanese, and our job that first night is to guard the artillery while they blast the Japanese positions. Man, no one slept that night. Like every time I counted went off, I almost bounced us out of the hole. Next morning, we started out, we saw some troops. Man, we opened fire on each other. That's what we call trigger happy. They thought we were Japanese, and we thought they were Japanese, but they got the war stopped for anybody got hurt or killed. So that's what you call being trigger happy when you first go into combat. And that is the sad thing about these experiences. When we took heavy losses, we were getting these young fellas that had never seen any combat. And they were trigger happy, and I'm afraid a lot of times they would just spend that to be slaughtered, or maybe even shoot some of us because they just didn't know but we were Japanese under darkness. So it's just sad situations we run into.
So tell me about the day that the action took place for which you received your medal.
Okinawa then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, first, how long were you on Okinawa before that day?
I don't know. I lose track of several weeks.
Okay.
When we went ashore, I'm almost getting confused with the lady experience. We were made, the beachhead had already been made when we got there. We went back to get organized to go forward. I saw some of these women, and we didn't know what in the world was happening. The Japanese told them what terrible people we were, how we killed babies and all. When we went back, I understand one of the mothers had thrown the baby in the well because of what the Japanese had said. So now, I'm not scared of the dead. That's all I had to be worried. I wouldn't have to worry about it. So to get shelter from the bombs and artillery, what have you, I spent my first night in a tomb with the dead. And then, after we got organized, we went forward. And just before we got to Okinawa, up to the escarpment, we had a tanks, maybe a half a dozen or more tanks, probably more tanks, maybe closer to a dozen, going up that. And here came a reconnaissance plane with a star on it, and talking about a barrage of artillery. They were hitting those tanks like crazy. Those fellows bailed out of those tanks, and the fellow up there flying over, he don't know how close he came or getting shot down. We thought maybe the Japanese was flying that plane. But we got up, we went up, and as we got up in the hills, I called a 3-story mountain. You had the plateau, then you go up a flight, and then you go up steeper, and then when you got to the top stuck out about 5 feet more at the top, and when it did about 35 feet below to maybe 75 feet. And that's what we had to go up. The Japanese had been there for years. they had that mountain was honeycomb. They came out from on the tops, 2 and 3 stories high passageways all through that mountain. And camouflage looked like natural terrain that had been there for years. And that's what we had to face. So I told Lieutenant Gonto, the platoon leader, I believe prayer was the greatest lifesaver there was. I didn't think we should go up as cargo net, the sergeant I put up the day before we prayed. He called the platoon together and says, Doss want to pray for us. That wasn't what I had in mind. What I had in mind reminded the men we had no assurance of a return. I knew what was up there because I had seen some of the dead the quartermaster hadn't been able to get off. Now, it was our job to do what the others couldn't do. So that's the reason for it. But now, we went up this cargo net after I had prayer. I prayed the Lord would give the lieutenant wisdom in knowing how to give his orders because our lives were in his charge, and give us the wisdom in knowing how to take all the safety precautions we could that we all come back alive to be his will. I knew I'd asked for something big, but men seem to have so much confidence in me. I believe some way God's going to make it possible. So we pushed up, got pinned down, and thought we couldn't move. And while we were pinned down and thought we couldn't move, word came from battalion wanted to know what my losses were and didn't have any. It wasn't long before word came back stating the heavy losses of A Company was 2 hours left and was supposed to have us take this escarpment. It's impossible for them to move, and we had to take this whole thing by ourselves. Now, how would you like to be pinned down and think you couldn't move and get an order like that? But Uncle Sam has to sacrifice lives for very important objectives, and this was probably the most important of the island. It was holding up the works. And so with those orders, we began to move forward. I'm not going into details, take too long, but how we just kept knocking one after that out. I remember, it was 8 or 9 of those Japanese positions we destroyed before we contacted A Company. And when the day was done, I didn't have a single man killed. Only one fellow was hit with a rock on the sand and blown up his position. And it was so outstanding, they wouldn't know how in the world it was done. Now, how would you like the report go back to the division, even back to the state, due to Doss's prayer? That's the only explanation they could give. Now,
well, let's change tape here.
Hold on, we're gonna.
Okay.
Okay, so Doss prayed.
so now, the next day, we thought the big job was done. It's going to be a little pushover job. I made mention concerning prayer to Captain Vern. He's the one who came to me the day before, asked me if I would go up, and I was studying my Bible. And I told him I'd like to finish my private devotions first. When I went up, come find out I was holding up the battalion. They didn't want to go without the medic. And so now, I made mention concerning praise. The side Doss was already started off. Like I said, I don't think any of us prayed. We thought this was just a little mop-up job. We thought the big job was done. But instead, everything we was trying this day went wrong. We threw all types of high explosives, demolition of all sorts on this Japanese position. They managed to pull the fuse out before it went off. We had some tin from someplace. We were going to try to pour gasoline over on the position and blow it up. That didn't work. Ended up, well, I was up forward with my men, and they were throwing hand grenades over my head at either side. They stopped. Then I told them not to stop. "We afraid you hit." I said, "At least try to keep them pinned down. At least they can get back." And so that's what they did. But they couldn't throw over my head, they threw either side. In the meantime, in the forward position, I had 4 men throwing hand grenades overhead in a shell hole. And I don't know if he got shot or what happened, but he was fixing to throw a hand grenade, I think it was. Grenade went off, blew his hand off, and got the other 3 men real quick. So that was that. Now, we decided it was only one thing left to do. We had 35 gallons of high-octane gasoline and 5-gallon Army water cans. 2 men got all those, opened the can, led up. 2 of them literally threw it over the bank, over on this Japanese position. I understand a lieutenant threw a white phosphorus grenade. And when that fire hit that gasoline, I think all the heavy demolition we'd thrown over, plus the ammunition dump must have gone off. That whole mountain just seemed to quiver. You didn't take anything to be able to survive it. But to our surprise, what was peaceful out here the day before happened to be concealed trenches. Out came these Japanese from both sides for us. I reckon they figured it was now or never. And so as a result, we got orders to withdraw because there seemed to be as many, if not more, of them was of us. All of us couldn't get down that cargo net. And so as a result, I had these men up there, and I shouldn't leave them. They were my buddies. Some of my men were families, and they trusted me. I didn't feel like I should value my life above my buddies. And so I decided to stay with them and take care of as many of them as I could. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but what happened in West Virginia, the lieutenant thought I was pretty good at night time. And our lives depended on night time. We had to evacuate each other over cliffs, out of trees, and across streams. If you didn't know what you're doing, a good way to get hurt or killed. But I remember the time the Bowline Knot, that's one of our safest knots, and what we also taught there, but all the rope was in use. So I doubled the rope, made myself by doubling the rope, tied double the Bowline Knot, and that were 2 loops. And when I tied the first patient on the litter and put him over the ledge of that cliff, and the litter went rocking in the breeze. His arm came up part way, but I had him in the legs too, but I didn't have enough rope to do the job like it should be done. Then the Lord brought to my mind that knot I learned in West Virginia I'd never seen or heard of before. I used that. Put his leg through each loop, double his rope again, tied around the rope. Now I had a guideline down here where to hold the man away from the cliff. Now there was a stump of a tree there. I got the rope around it. The stump took the load. All I had to do was slack off. When I got the men to the bottom, all they had to do is just untie the rope from underneath the arm. And I pulled the rope back up, used the same loops for over and over for the legs. So I just kept praying, Lord, please help me get one more, until there was none left. And I was the last one down. And the thing is this, when you had explosives and bullets so close you could practically feel it and not get wounded up there, when I should have been killed a number of times, I know who I owe my life to as well as my men. That's why I like to tell this story to the glory of God, because I know from a human standpoint I should not be here.
Now, what I've read is that the accounts say there were 100 men.
Well,
You say there were not 100 men.
no, see, that's where we differ. I understand we went up 150, 155 men. When we went back for replacement, only 50 or 55 of us left. And I didn't take care of all those men. Here's another thing. The reason I said, you don't save a man's life if he didn't save his life. Just like a surgeon, the operation was a success, but the patient died. That's not success. And so I lost a number of men too. And so as a result, they try to give me credit for 100. I say, no way. Well, know how many men I took care of? I said, I don't know. I know the business didn't see how it could possibly be over 50, and I still don't. But they split the difference. In the citations say 75.
But you think 50.
Well, let's put it this way. In combat like that, with so much confusion, you even lose the track of the days of the week. You don't try to keep track because you don't know what you're going to be the next one to be killed. Life is very uncertain. So you're not trying to keep track of time of what's going on. You just live one day at a time.
How many hours would you say you were lowering these men?
Well, that I don't know either. Different one says number of hours. At least it sounded like there was at least had to be several hours anyhow. So I don't know. You just doing what needs to be done at the time the best you can, and don't even think about time.
And after all of these men, were you exhausted?
Well, I reckon to a certain extent, but you have never energy. And it's surprising you can think what things you can do. Just like this lieutenant we took care of, he had a nervous breakdown. Man, it took him off his guard. He's crying like a baby, his eyes all bloodshot, face all emaciated. And he had to protect his men. They had to bring him back. He couldn't even raise them off the litter. It's no disgrace. I almost cracked up myself one time from it because I got to thinking about my men I'd have wounded or kill. And that's when we got some new 10-in-1 rations, the best we've had since I left the States. And my buddies told me, be careful. I had a sea ration can with some sand and some gas in it. He says, Doss, you be careful. If you blow us up, I understand it just same as I'm telling you to. But when I struck, like, whew, brother, it singed my eyebrows. And I found out I was crying. I didn't even know I was crying until that. And that's when I realized I had to quit thinking about these horrors of war. And one of the things that really got me is I had a nightmare of my mother coming to me all horrified for protection, and a bomb blew her to bits. And brother, I began to have nightmares one after another. I was afraid to go back to sleep because I figured I'd never live, I wouldn't be able to live to another one. But again, that's why I kept praying, the Lord, please help me. And so I just refused to even think about the war. When we have war later, I was inpatient in the hospital. I was hospital for about 3 years from my injuries, and I also contracted TB over there. And so I had to even listen to the news because it's just so real and kept bringing so many things in my mind. So I got to where I can tell this story and it don't bother me, because when I tell this story, I tell it as it comes to my mind. When it gets through, I don't think about it no more, because I figured if I let my mind dwell on other things, I don't know what could something happen still. So it's just some people don't like to talk about it. But the wonderful part is this. You can't always win. But when your buddies come to you and say they owe their life to me, what better reward can you get than that? I lost two of my closest buddies. And while we were trying to save life, but they lost their life in the process. So there's some of the things, and so that was another thing that helped me. When Glenn was fatally wounded, we had to drag him out off this plateau on his poncho over a couple of dead Japanese, trying to take what safety cautions we could to try to get off alive. I took care of this other fellow he went up to take care of. He was wounded in his head, blood ran down to his face and eyes. And he was like groaning, calling for medic. I took water from my canteen and washed the blood out of his eyes. When his eyes came up, man, he lit up. If I never got anything with that, he thought he was blind. And so I called over the shack to this Jewish fellow that believed in predestination. Asked him how it's been bad, come over. Now the Japanese knew where we were. Just a little sagebrush out in this open. And so they opened fire. Shachter jumped up and started running. I said, hit the ground, play dead. It's so real, I was sure they got him. I crawled over. He got missed. Then we crawled over. I told him no more talking. After we will whisper. I went over and Glenn may have gotten another slug or two in his body. I took care of him. I don't know if he ever recognized me or not. And so that's when we dragged him out over the Japanese body. And Captain Van left me a rear guard to help take care of the wounded and to give me some protection from the Japanese who was firing on us along the way. But before we got to the aid station, I didn't have a dry thread on my body. And I was so weak I could hardly walk. Just as coming to the area I checked, and he had passed away on me. The shock was more than I could handle. I lost all will to live. To see both Doss and Glenn and my wife and we were, when one sent home for the wife, the other two did the same thing. So we were very close friends. So now, I made up my mind from that time on. I didn't want to even look in the face of my men no more. All I wanted to do is take care of them as quick as I possibly could, because minutes could be a matter of life and death. And so that's the way it is. And another experience I had when I was right in the barrel of a Japanese machine gun. My machine gunners were expecting to see me killed in a second. They could see what was taking place, but they couldn't fire down on us down this rice paddy field. And they couldn't fire where they fired on men, so they had to keep the Japanese pinned down while we worked our way across this rice paddy field. So I went down in the rice paddy field. They told us, Doss, be careful, we haven't got the sniper now. You don't mind crawling around in mud and water when your life is at stake. So I went out in the rice paddy field and worked ran to where the fellow at the edge of the rice paddy field. Got him on the ladder and called for some help to help get the thing back. When I got to the top, the machine gunner stopped me. All of them told me the same story. It looked like almost word for word. They could see everything was taking place. They said, I crawled into the barrel of that machine gun so close there's no way I could miss seeing it. And then I turned and went to the man he had just shot. The Japanese were taught to kill the medics because it broke down the morale of the men, because they had no one to take care of them. But for the infantry, wound those that knocked from 7 to 12 minute action, but for the medics, us and the B armies, I think they're the ones they try to get to more than anyone else. I think we went down at 50% about our own lady. They weren't playing around. So I just marveled when I've seen so many cases. And then when it came to the Omak River, Shachter and I was working together. He would go places with me no one else would go. He believed that, well, God intended for us to go a certain way and nothing you can do about it. And so we evacuated a patient across the Omak River. And when we were going up the bank, I heard this shot. The bullet, I'm sure, came between me and the man on the back of the litter and got him just on the front stirrup. He went down. If it had missed him, that either got me or the fellow on the back. They wasn't taking no chances. So now we run to the litter jeep with the patient, got another litter and came back, and I got Shachter. And just as we got to the litter jeep, the Japanese was out waiting for us. And no more than got the front step up into the jeep when they began to spray us with a machine gun fire. And brother, everyone's was on. I shoved the lid up in place as far as I could and just barely able to catch a hold to it with just the end of my fingers. I've never flown so fast in all my life. My feet were being thrown over from under fast and I can pick them up. I was doing more sailing run than I knew. If I didn't hold on, that was the end of me, and I didn't know I was going to hold on. But I'm thankful we got out of the range of the machine gun fire to slow down. But those jeeps, he gunned that thing with all it was worth. And I thought that's another thing being gone. So when you have so many different experiences like that, you just marvel how God has continued to save my life so many times during the war.
He had plans for you.
Huh?
He had plans for you.
Well, it seems that way.
So tell me, where were you when you found out that you were going to receive the Medal of Honor?
Okinawa. Don't you see, I was soaked to the skin by the blood of my men on that escarpment. The flies were bad. And when we went back for replacements, they got me a clean pair of fatigues. Others ragged, bleached, some were brown, some was almost white, the others green and patched, but mine matched. I felt like I was one of the best dressed. And so that was on a Sabbath. That when General Bruce came to see me. He saw my captain, Captain Tan. He told Captain Tan to recommend me for the Medal of Honor, nothing less than a DSC. And when you had a division chaplain making a recommendation, the major had no objections. And
So-
you see, it called for eyewitness reports. Now, I like to feel like I'm wearing this in honor of the real heroes. The real ones never got to come back. There should have been a lot more. But it calls for eyewitness reports and wasn't nobody left to tell the story. They never received any honor whatsoever. So I like to feel like I'm wearing this in honor of those that paid the supreme price for the country.
You say they were the real heroes. Do you consider yourself a hero?
I consider myself doing the best I could with the Lord's help. And it's the Lord that saw fit to have me honored. So it wasn't for no honor, and I just want to be known just as a plain old person like I've been all my life.
Tell me about the day that you received the medal.
Well, I thought I was going to be nervous. And it was 15 I got the medal that day. So on the White House lawn, they had a piece of tape, to why we walk up and salute the president. When my time came, I went up. President Truman, man, he came out and he stepped over the line and caught me by my hand and shook my hand like an old-time friend, somebody I'd been knowing all his life. He didn't even give me a chance to get nervous. And so he told me I really deserved it. And he wrote Bess, I was the only CO he considered on the level. I attended 3 inaugurations, and all 3 times he made mention of the skinny farmer's mate, the only one he considered on the level.
So, how do you feel today when you put the medal on?
Well, I don't know. I felt like I do it because they're so scarce. You see, out of the 16 million that was served in World War II, there's only 430-some medals given out. But of that number, less than 200 lived to see it. So they were very scarce. And so I wear it from the standpoint because they're so scarce, and it gives me a chance to witness what the Lord has done.
Tell me, when did you leave the military?
What's that?
When did you leave the military?
Well, I was transferred directly from the Army hospital to the VA hospital. So I had about 5.5 years in the service in the hospital. And so they never was able to rehabilitate me. I never been rehabilitated till the day to where I could hold a job as a civilian life.
Because of your injuries?
Right, because I was shot up and blown up, and from my injuries, and I lost a lung and 5 ribs, and from how I had TB. So what happened is, this is sort of funny to me. I'm a vegetarian. They told me there's no way I could take that operation without eating meat. I told them I was going to take the operation, wasn't going to eat the meat either. Now, what it is, I laugh at Shug. She was the head dietitian. We were Shug and she was Shug. I don't know any other name for her but Shug. Everybody was Shug. So I asked her one day, I said, Shug, do y'all really want us to get well? Sure. What? I say you turn the importance of the high protein and the importance of milk. And what's the first thing you do? You cut us off from milk, and here you are coming in here getting cigarettes by the carton and just killing the people. You'll get your milk. And I bought my own soybeans, and they fixed me half a can 2 days, and then I missed it. But now, against regulation, no food in your room. She even brought me peanut butter by the quart and left with me. They gave me cottage cheese, eggs, and all. When you get through, I felt like I was actually on a high protein diet, and those that was eating meat, my body didn't have to throw off the impurities of the meat. I got my protein firsthand, like the cow.
So, very quickly, your injuries came on Okinawa?
Right.
Tell me about how you got your injuries.
Okay.
3 minutes.
The first one was I was hit with a rock that came between my head, my hand, and my knee when they were blowing up the escarpment. And it skipped my hand and knee, minor. So I wouldn't accept the Purple Heart for it. All it calls for blood. But when you have men that lost their limbs or lost their lives, I felt like that was depreciating the medal of the Purple Heart. But now the next time, when I was wounded, I had to evacuate what I call Apatoon Command Post, big enough for two. I'd be 4 of us. And Japanese was throwing grenades trying to knock out that mortar. And he was on this rock right above us. He threw this hand grenade. I call him potato masher. It has a fuse to it. And we could see him. So when the lieutenant was on guard, the others got in place. They opened fire on them while I played. And they felt like they had got him. But this Japanese grenade came down and hit our White Hospice grenade just outside the hole. Didn't have room for us and our equipment in the hole. Burnt a lot of our equipment up. And then that phosphorus smoke we couldn't take. But you know, the amazing thing is the Lord had the breeze going right to take that phosphorus smoke up over the Japanese where he had to get off. And in the meantime, the men up there on the ledge of the cliff, they opened fire on him too. So we found him probably gone maybe a couple 100 feet where he fell dead. He had his saber, nice watch, and gun. We never touched a thing. We were not interested. The things that they do, they were grown for help. They will lay on a grenade, you turn them over, they blow you up. So we didn't fool with the dead or do anything for them because we found out the things they did, and I've had men blown up just from picking up a mark and pen.
Okay.
Well, I should have been killed. I'm still here, and no telling how many I don't know anything about. And that's why, like I said, I like to tell this story to the glory of God, because I wouldn't expect people to believe some of these things if it wasn't to the glory of God. But I want people to know that to whom I feel like the glory is due. I'm just thankful He's been able to use me.
So, going back to your injuries that put you in the hospital, you said 3 years?
Yes. Well, sure. We go back to my first. Let's see.
No, not the first one.
No. We got the first one. So
Okay.
then the second one.
Okay. The next one is I fell and escaping, and I got skinned from my hand all the way down one side. I couldn't go to the aid station. It's too far. And I was only married to take care of them, so the men had to come to me for a day or two. And I was going to call King for a medic. And believe it or not, I jumped up with my aid kit and started, and I hit the ground. Men helped me up. I pray the Lord help me. You know, my leg never gave more after that. things like that people you wouldn't hardly believe, but I know it's so because it happened to me. And so, now the other time is after we went back for replacements. We had to take a Japanese held mountain by surprise, fixed bayonets, no ammunition, radios off. Anything you could handle with the bayonet was out of luck. We had to take this mountain by surprise. Flying that, heads face to the ground. And we found some power lines. Well, that pole lines had been destroyed. And that's why we had to, when the flag went down to where we could see what it was. I put bandages on the back of the packs, hope we could see. We started in column 3, and we were having a hard time keeping up with the columns or 2. And so we finally got to this place, and they had heavy artillery barrage put down all night. And then when we got to this area, they stopped. Then next morning, they were going to put in another barrage because we were supposed to be past this point. We were supposed to reach our destination, but we didn't. We were going down on the back side of this Japanese side mountain. Artillery didn't hit on the back side, and we were both on the same back side. They heard us. That's when they threw this grenade. I saw it coming. The first 2 managed to get out. I knew I had no way of getting out. So I just quickly threw my left foot back where I thought the grenade might be, and threw my head up against the bank. I no more did it. I felt like I went sailing through the air. Pieces went through my combat boot and fractured a toe. Rest went up my legs and buttocks. And I was doing it, losing a lot of blood. And so we had orders to withdraw. We had to take the chance of being wiped out with our own artillery or the Japanese. We were desperate. Someone even shot a flamethrower. I don't know if it's due to the Japanese or one of our recruits. But there's something. Now, we were to try to get back. And I knew I was losing a lot of blood. And we had orders to withdraw. I crawled as far as I could back up the mountain. I realized passing out. So I lay with the head down the side of the mountain to get the blood back to my head. I did that several times. I finally got back up to the top. And then I found a shell hole for this other fellow who was shot in the shoulder. I used his shovel, cleaned the thing out for the 2 of us, but I was still losing a lot of blood. So I treated myself for shock. Next morning, when it got daylight enough to see just inches of my helmet was artillery dud. If I'd hit that shell, it wouldn't have been a greasy spot left to either one of us. So that's another thing. After 5 or 6 hours, the little bears finally got to me and took me back part way. And I saw this fellow was wounded in the head. And I felt like giving the emergency patient priority. I figured I already pulled it in 4 hours, so I could pull that many more if I had to. So I made him take this other fellow back first against the bushes. I crawled off the litter, and so I had them take it back, and they would come back to get me. When they came back to get me, they never could find me. So I had been reported killed in action. And now I had another buddy from Richmond, Virginia, my wife's hometown, that was slightly wounded. He was on his way back to the aid station. He asked me if I could walk. With 17 pieces of medicine, with legs and bugs, I tried to walk. I had my left arm around his neck, and he had his arm around my waist, helped carry me, trying to walk. All that metal, and I tell you, I hadn't had, well, we didn't have no medics. I left my 8 kids up on front with my men, because they're going to the hospital. And I was supposed to act as a medic. He was so nervous, he spilled half the syringe of it. I had to get my own shot. By this time, I tell you, I was getting the full effect of the pain. And so now, I would try to walk with my arm around his neck. When the bullet came in, so went in here, came out here, went back here, shot all 3 bones and seared the nerve. And so now, the funny thing now, I can laugh at it now. He said, "What are we going to do with no medic?" I said, "Y'all the medic I want." "What? What can I do?" I said, "Give me the stock off your rifle." Man, I hadn't hardly got the words out of my mouth before the barrel been thrown over. What you want to know what to do? I said, "Take the field jacket and wrap around the stock of that rifle." When I grabbed my arm up here, and this other part kept dangling, I knew it had all 3 bones. So I had a hand to my side, so I had wrapped rifle stock with my jacket, and my clothes all soaked with blood. I had them tied up and tied my arm to my body for a splint. So then he tried to carry me, try to walk again to find out. They said I crawled to the aid station, but I passed that before I got there.
Okay, I have 2 more questions. The first question is, when you were on the escarpment and lowering the men, what did your uniform look like? What kind of uniform was it?
It's plain army fatigues,
Okay,
2-piece up and lower.
okay. And when you were lowering the men, you wrapped it around a log?
Yeah, it's a stump of
stump.
a tree.
Okay.
See, everything is, artillery had to start everything. No, nothing green, nothing just stumps and clear top, and any positions that was camouflage. So, there was something I was supposed to say different.
About the stump, so you had it
yeah.
wrapped around,
Okay.
and then the loops went,
Now,
their
see,
legs went.
Now, see, that's what I'm fixing to say now. Now, the top was fairly level, sloping over on the Japanese side. But on this side over here, where the top stuck out about 5 foot more and about 35 feet below, there was probably maybe a 6 foot place here on the side where we dug at the rock and where I made it in place and so grenades to try to keep the Japanese pinned down. And so now, when I got the men pulled off the top and I was tying on the rope, I was reasonably safe from the small arms fire because the top was better to put my head when you bent over, and see, I was able to wrap the rope around the tree, get him in the split of the Bowline Knot legs and body, and then I could put it over. But bent on the ledge of the cliff like that, I was reasonably safe from being shot while I was there. But I had to keep going back and get my men until I got all of them. And that's an amazing thing, because like I say, when you almost felt some of these bullets and explosives and I get killed, it just amazed me how Lord thought I had to spare my life.
Last question.
Okay.
What responsibility comes with wearing the Medal of Honor?
You become a public servant. In other words, people want to hear and know of these experiences. And so that is the reason I've been all over the country and overseas and all. It's just sharing these experiences. I just came back from Germany. And for a serviceman retreat over there. And so it's just, people just want, I'm still lined up for a number of places yet to go. But the thing is this, that's the amazing thing. I can't work, but yet it's amazing the things I've been able to do. I'm very sharp-winded, and I have to go slow. But I've learned as long as I stay within my limits, I got my halo I still use for short-windedness, it helps. But as long as I stay within my limits, it's surprising the things I've been able to do over the years.
Wonderful.
Two things. I want to get a shot of that picture, but I'd just like to have him look right at the camera just for
Okay.
a second.
Can you just look right at the camera? Look right here and don't say anything. He's just going to take one shot of you.